Shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. It starts right now. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, coming at you Live live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios on the campus of 103.9 FM WYAB. It's the most incendiary show in all of the U.S. of A, whether it's on the FM dial, the AM dial, or the World Wide Web. Oh, we're going to earn that reputation this morning. Y'all know I've been chomping at the bit for 3 hours of live radio, to quote my good buddy, Mr. Jameson. Hey, good. He used to say, I've been chomping at the bit, as have I, my friend, as have I. Ooh-wee, before we get started, the Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. Let's see here. The Mazda of Jackson phone line. I imagine I'll be shocked if the phone line don't ring this morning. 601-879-0002. Speaking of all them zeros, my truck is had a bunch of nines on the dash this morning. I'm about 4 miles away from hitting 100K. I trying to take a picture going down the road. It was 999. It was like a zero. Anyway, we're almost there. I'm going to get that picture at 100K. If I got to pull over on the side of 49 on my way home, I'm going to do it. Anyway, Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Coming up in hour 3, we'll have my buddy. That's right, today is a 3-hour extravaganza. Not to be confused with the Mississippi Wildlife Extravaganza. This is a extravaganza. Oh, yeah, it's a culture rot extravaganza this morning on the Clay Edwards Show. They can't act right, guys. It's a little vindication here. I expect a lot of my haters to call in this morning and say, Clay, you were right. We apologize. We apologize. You've been right the whole time. It is, in fact, a culture rot in the black community across Mississippi and, frankly, the United States, but especially here in the South. Now, look, I want to say this. I want to put this disclaimer out there on the front end here, and I'm only going to do this once. If you're black, and you're not participating in the culture rot, don't get mad. I'm not talking about you. It's just like the disclaimer I give when I go after the rainbow supremacist. If you're gay, and gay is just what you are, it's not who you are, I ain't talking about you. Go on about your business. Mind your business. If you're trans, well, I'll just be honest. I mean, I'm sure there's a good one out there here and there. I know there's one that reached out to me that listens to the show. You probably need to get checked. You got some mental issues going on. But, you can be crazy and a good person, I guess, simultaneously. But look, if I'm not talking about you, if I'm not talking to you, if you're not participating in the carnage and the chaos, don't get offended by me talking about the people who are. There can be a needle in a haystack every now and then. You can be a good person and also be whatever else. I was a car salesman for 12 years. And I felt like I was a pretty good guy. Never screwed anybody over, never lied to anybody, never did any of that. But because you're a car salesman, you're a used car salesman. Had to deal with the reputation of used car salesman from the 80s. And 90s for that matter. Anyway, if I ain't talking to you, if you know I ain't talking about you, don't get offended this morning. Ooh-wee. Bloodiest weekend in a long, long time in the state of Mississippi. And it's all from the same folks who tell us all their problems are due to the supremacy. The white supremacy is holding the black folks down. Well, that ain't what I saw this weekend. That is not what I saw this weekend. Before we get into that, I got out of the house for just a little while yesterday. I've been at home all weekend. And I wasn't going to do anything yesterday. My kid was at home sick. But the walls were closing in on me. We got a good ruck in yesterday morning, good 3.5 mile ruck. And that's where you wear a weighted vest. That's not a bulletproof vest I'm wearing. Maybe I should tell people it is. They just shoot for the head. Not that they'd hit. Anyway, it's where you wear a weighted vest or a backpack and you go out walking, running, whatever. I wear a 40-pound vest. Don't sound like much till you go do it for 3 miles, I promise. Them trapeziuses will be burning like there's knives in them. Anyway, so the walls were closing in on me. So I was like, I'm going to get out and get fresh air, go touch some grass, so to say. And I rode over to Shuckers for a minute to visit a few friends that were over there. Then I was coming back home. I said, man, I'm going to stop by that new place, Backwater Grill. It's just on the way. And I'd been in there once before, and they got an upstairs balcony with a bar up there I kind of like. Pretty cool. Pretty chill. So I went in there. I had one drink. Met some people that were up at the bar. They were like-minded individuals. Shout out to them if they're listening in this morning. Overheard their conversation. I'm like, seems like my kind of people. And anyway, I walked downstairs, hit the restroom, and walking out the door, and this table full of white folks kind of waved me over. I'm like, okay, I'll stop and talk for a second. And this lady stands up and commences to chew in my ass. And it happens. I don't mind it. I mean, I can do without it. I mean, look, you start chewing me, I'm going to chew you back. Don't think I'm going to stand there and just take it. So if you give it, be ready to take it. And this lady is all bent out of shape over what I said about Leland, Mississippi. And she couldn't ever tell me what I said, by the way. She said, well, you insinuated that it was all on, everybody there was on Medicare and Medicaid and this, that, and the other. I'm like, those words never came out of my mouth. I was like, you're putting words in my mouth. I was like, what did I say that offended you? I said it was a third world Democrat hellhole, just like Jackson, except worse, actually. I mean, at least there's actually things to do in Jackson. I'm guessing there ain't anything to do in Leland, Mississippi. Except get shot, maybe, on Main Street. Good Lord, what a sad situation. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dive all into it this morning. But I want to start with this because it's top of mind. If you're going to accost me in public, if you're going to see me and you think this is my chance to tell this guy what I think, you damn well better come with the truth. You better come better than, well, it sounded like you said. No. Let's talk about what's got your panties in a wad. Otherwise, let's not talk. Because I'm not going to play this, well, it sounded like you said. You insinuated. So I made it real clear what I said in the middle of that restaurant. I said, it is a Democrat third world hellhole ate up by black culture rot that led to 16 people getting shot, 6 dying, and 10 in critical condition. So there's no misunderstanding about what I said. That's what I said. And she, typical white Karen, had the short bob haircut or whatever they call that. Looked like a PE teacher. Which I ain't sitting here trying to knock anybody's looks. I'm not saying she's good looking, ugly, anything else, but she had the Karen haircut. And, she was wearing glasses. She kept, I'm deaf in one ear and I'm about half blind in one eye. So I got a lazy eye. And she kept saying, look at me when you're talking to me. And man, that's where I lost it. I was like, I am looking at you. I said, what I'm telling you right now is we're going to agree to disagree, and I'm going to walk my ass out that door. Man, I ain't been so mad in a long time. I wanted to raise 7 levels of hell, but unfortunately, my mama instilled into me acting right in public. But every now and then, just every now and then, boy, that pimp hand, oh, it gets strong. Calm down, pimp hand, calm down. I'm kidding. I would never hit a woman. I wouldn't. But, man, every now and then, I used to date this old white trash girl. Her name was Jamie. She went by Jam Jam. And I ain't seen her in a long time. Boy, she lived a rough life. But, man, every now and then, it'd been nice to have that little switchblade by me. I need a heater. I need a female heater. Somebody to handle these females and they get sideways with me in public. Y'all know what a heater is, right? A heater is, you ever watch wrestling? A good example of a heater is back in the day, Shawn Michaels had Big Daddy Cool Diesel. That's how they introduced him as a character, was he was Shawn Michaels' bodyguard, so to say. They call it a heater. And every now and then you'd have like China was Triple H's heater. She ended up being more than that. But China, Joni Laura, big bodybuilder female, big chick, big China. Loved China. That was a great character. Sadly, she took her own life later on. But I need a big female heater like China for when these type situations happen. Clay Edwards can't put his hands on a woman, but China can. Anyway, I kid, sorta. But it was just rude, man. Like, can you just imagine for a second? And I put this on social media last night. Can you imagine for a second that, so this lady was mad because I said something about Leland, Mississippi that she didn't like. So she thought the best outcome of this would be to see me in public and confront me about saying that Leland was a hellhole. All right, so I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. But so let me finish that up. So she thought seeing something online by somebody she's never met that was not about her. And she thought to herself, I'm going to see that person. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind about what he said about Leland, Mississippi. That's crazy. First, crazy. Second, what if Clay Edwards? Now, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I got it tattooed on my arm for those watching online right there. It says it's the Las Vegas sign. And it says, welcome to fabulous Jackson, Mississippi, instead of welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. Now, at one time, I was very proud of being from Jackson, Mississippi. Actually, I had a Highway 80 tattoo on my arm too, but I got it covered up. It was just a little too damn embarrassing. It's a grenade now. So I was doing like a Jackson themed Route 66 tattoo, but it just, after they elected Chockway, I was like, well, change of direction. We'll keep the Las Vegas tattoo, but we'll change of direction. But imagine if I went out there and I got mad at everybody that talked bad about Jackson on the internet. And I saw them in person. I saw what you said about Jackson, Mississippi, and I don't appreciate it. I'd look like a crazy person. Would look like an absolute crazy person if I did that. I don't care if it's small town. I don't care what just happened there. You're a crazy person if you can't look at that without biased goggles on and say, oh, yeah, it's a third world hellhole. The Democrats are in control, and this is the kind of stuff that happens when they're in control. Anyway. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, let's get into all these mass shootings, and I'm going to tell you whose fault they are. And it's a little more complex than just saying that it's the black folks. It's a little more complex than that. It's the single black mother's fault, and I'm going to tell you why. It's the single black mother's fault. We're going to peel that onion back. We're going to get all into it, all the reactions. And there's something going on X with conservative social media influencers over there where they're trying to push this narrative. And don't get me wrong, they're not wrong at a foundational level. Because, the national media does, in fact, try to cover up mass shootings when the shooter's black. It doesn't fit their narrative. But they're getting something wrong over there. They keep sharing the image of the guy that got arrested for the Heidelberg mass shootings and saying that it's the guy that got arrested for the Leland mass shootings. And they're all pushing this same script, same NPC bot agenda that the lefties do. And I don't like it. And I've been correcting them, and they're not fixing it, and it's got me mad a little bit. So we're going to call all them out, too. From Cat Turd to all the other ones that are doing it, whose names I can't remember off the top of my head. They're all the big wigs over there on X pushing a BS narrative about Mississippi. So we're going to address that and more. And coming up in hour 3, we'll have Andrew Gosser. That's what I was trying to say that earlier and got distracted. It is a 3-hour extravaganza. And in hour 3, we have Andrew Gosser. If you're watching online, hit the share button. It's about to be all gas, no breaks here on the Clay Edwards Show. Drop a like, drop a comment, call in the Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We'll be right back on 103.9 FM, WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, here live on WYAB. We're live at the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios here on the campus of WYAB. Let me get the folks' comments pulled up in the live stream here. All right. This segment brought to you by friends over at Core Wellness and Therapy. After this weekend, I need to go get in the cryo chamber and get some red light therapy today, my dang self. Man, get a little IV hydration going on, get that mega metabolism, get that energy, get this Monday fun day started off right. You know, all my hustlers and grinders out there, you know, we love that it's Monday. Monday's an opportunity to get the week started right, to get out there, get this money, work towards them goals, hit whether it's the gym, whether it's work, whether it's both. You know, we don't complain about it being Monday. I'm glad the weekend's over. Glad it's over. I was excited to see 5:30 this morning. Finally, back to normal. Work. Love it. 2 hours of live radio. But, you know, hey, look, that comes with a cost, though. When you're out there grinding, when you're out there hitting the gym every day, when you're out there working your butt off, whether it's physical work, mental work, any of that, it's draining. Get out to Core Wellness and Therapy. Try one of their IV hydrations. You'll love it. Most of them can get you going for the entire week. The mega metabolism is my go-to. It's good 3-4 days worth of untapped energy, and there's no crash or anything like that. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. You need to go try it. They have a day pass available for $50, $49.99, something like that. Just round up to $50. You should come in. You can do the red light therapy. You can do the the cold plunge bed, but it's a dry cold plunge. You can do the leg compression, the oxygen bar, several other things. There's so many different options out there. Let them tell you all about it, but it's perfect for workout recovery, mental recovery. It's relaxing. And you got, like I said, man, try those different hydrations. They got the different IVs. I recommend also the NAD. If you're not taking NAD, you need to look into it, Google it, do a little research on it, decide if it's for you or not. Trust me, it's for you. That's Core Wellness and Therapy, located right out there off Highland Colony in the township. Check them out online, Core Wellness and Therapy, and be sure to tell them Clay sent you when you get in there. All right, man, let's jump into this. There's 9 dead people in Mississippi, and there's, I think I counted 13 people who have been shot but not dead. All over, it looks like about 5 different events, all involved in football, homecoming, or HBCUs in some form, fashion, or another. And every last bit of it was black-on-black violence. Again, we're told, if you listen to the national media, that white supremacy is the greatest threat to this country. Ain't that what they said, that white supremacy was the greatest threat to this country? When was the last time some white supremacy caused a single death in this country? I'll be waiting in the comments there. Let me know. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. I don't believe that the white supremacy has caused any deaths in this country in my lifetime, but especially over the weekend here in Mississippi. Dark Horse Press has got a nice little recap here of what went on. So I woke up Saturday morning. I slept in. It was 8 o'clock. I slept at 8 o'clock Saturday, which is 3 hours later than normal. And there's some guys like right out the window here painting the building. Pretty interesting. So anyway, they got a front row seat to the Clay Edwards Show. We're upstairs here too, so looks like that's Casey Bridges' crew. Anyway, I woke up and I'm getting all these screenshots and these messages from people about these shootings. And I'll be honest, it was a bit confusing. I was just shocked that it was more than one. So I thought I saw a Heidelberg, 2 people shot. Then I see this other nonsense about 30 people shot, up to 18 dead in the Delta. I mean, look, I'd never heard of Heidelberg, Mississippi. Where the hell is Heidelberg? It must be the same place. People just got the school names confused. It was a lot. It was a lot to try to work through and figure out what was what. So I got on, I just said, well, I'm going to do a live. So I did a live stream Saturday morning. And as I'm going live, I'm getting all these notifications. And it was at that moment that I realized there were 3 different mass shootings of sorts, or school shootings, whatever you want to call it, in Mississippi at the same time. And what was making it really more confusing, there was also a shooting in Rolling Fork. And I just assumed that once I said, okay, well, Heidelberg is a different school. That's down in the Pine Belt. Then I was like, okay, well, there's this shooting in, they were saying Rolling Fork and then Leland. I said, well, that's got to be the same place. That's all up in the Delta there. No, there were separate shootings. And actually, I didn't add the Rolling Fork shooting to my number here. It makes it, I think, 14 people who have been shot and not killed. Anyway, as I'm going live, I get a breaking news from Fox News that 12 people shot, 4 dead. And then you get another update from that was, well, once we finally got shook it out and the weekend has ended, we're at, from the mass shooting in Leland, it's 16 shot, 6 dead, 10 severely injured. And they have not caught the little thugs that did it. The community knows who did this, but the black community has their no snitching nonsense. They know who did this. There's a, not a city council member, but a county supervisor, Mara something or another, that was interviewed. She says she saw some kids that looked like they weren't from there walking through the block party event there with some backpacks on. So she actually had the wherewithal to take a picture and send it to the sheriff before the shooting. Say, hey, these guys look out of place. I got a bad vibe from these guys. And then I don't know how much longer after that, this mass shooting happens. Was it a targeted gang shooting? Was it just that we're going there to kill a bunch of people? What was it? We don't know. So these guys get away. This mass casualty event, these guys get away. And then the next day, there's a drive-by shooting in this same little town that this woman was trying to defend, that confronts me last night. There's a drive-by shooting at a gas station while there was a woman inside there with her children. Now, thank God nobody got hit. I shared the video. Somebody sent me I don't know, one of our listeners on the Guns and Gear text line, text me the video, the surveillance video of it. So it's like them recording the screen with their phone. But nonetheless, we had the exclusive video of that. And you can go see it at Save JXN on any of my social media platforms. I didn't load it to Rumble, so it's on X, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, that's it. X, Facebook, and Instagram at Save JXN. Again, culture rot. Then down in Heidelberg, Mississippi, you get 2 people shot and killed. One was found dead in the tailgate area, another found dead over on the baseball fields. I mean, what in the hell is going on? Then you got the one in Rolling Fork. And I stayed home Friday night. I stayed home Saturday night because I was like, man, I know Jackson thugs they're not going to sit idly by and let the thugs of another area in Mississippi take the crown as the deadliest thugs of them all. There was going to be a definite hold my beer moment. There's definitely going to be a hold my beer moment. And they were going to say, okay, well, we got you, boy. We got you. Thug up. Jackson for life. And as predictable as death and taxes, there was a shooting at the JSU homecoming game. And not only was there a shooting at the JSU homecoming game, they set a bunch of cars on fire too. 4 cars. Burn up like they like their chicken. Fried hard. Anybody that's ever worked in the restaurant business gets the reference. Black folks love their chicken fried hard and their steaks well done. Oh, I mean, just cook a hamburger, man. Just cook a hamburger. Anyway, they was barbecuing and burned a bunch of cars up. Don't really know what happened. No, they haven't said why the cars caught on fire, how they caught on fire, but somebody got shot. And simultaneously to this happening, we get a notification that there's been a shooting at Alcorn. Sean had texted me and Sean and Fred Shanks have a group text, and Sean texted, hey, I think there was just a shooting at JSU. And I was like, no, I think you're wrong. I said, I think it was ASU. And I sent the screenshot that I had that I found on Facebook from Alcorn State. And lo and behold, so actually chronologically, I found out about Alcorn first, and then 5 minutes later, we found out about the JSU shooting. So at Alcorn, sadly, 3 people get shot, 1 gets killed. This is on campus, by the way, not just in Lorman, Mississippi. And just to sprinkle a little Salt Bay sea salt on top, right before I get ready to call it a night, a buddy of mine sends me a video, and he just happened to stumble across it in live time. There's a shooting on the campus of LSU right after the LSU football game. 2 people got shot. We shared that video. Now, I know that wasn't Mississippi, but Baton Rouge, same energy. My daughter had just been down there, too. I mean, they went down for that haunted house, that 13th gate or whatever. So I freaked out a little bit on that one. You know, like, oh, crap, my kid was down there, and they hadn't gotten home yet. So I'm on the phone with her. I'm like, please tell me y'all have gotten out of Baton Rouge. She's like, yeah, we're getting close to getting home. I was like, okay, thank God. But that one made my heart skip a beat a little bit. I mean, I feel bad for everybody that got shot. I truly do. Everybody that got killed this morning. I feel bad for everybody involved in this. I know I said what we were going to talk about this segment, that we were going to talk about why it's the single black mother's faults. And I see some of the comments, people are already mad at me. Why are you going to blame it on the mothers? Why are you going to blame it on the single moms? Well, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you why I'm blaming on the single moms and why it's actually the government's fault. We've created this monster. There's going to be deep level, 3rd level, 47th level, Wahhabi Shriner stuff right here. Knights of the Templar level conspiracy theory stuff here. So buckle up when we come back, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I believe this is the single black mother's fault, that this violence and this culture rot is running rampant in the black community. Somebody's got to say it, because you know you're all thinking it. So Clay Edwards is going to be the one to say it. But I had to lay the groundwork. We had to discuss all the different incidents that happened over the weekend. We've done that, and now we're going to start pointing some damn fingers. And, of course, I point the finger at the entire city of Leland. If anybody knows who did this, you need to be snitching. The damn FBI, you're making us look bad. You're making Mississippi look bad. Stop it. This is why I don't have sympathy for the black community, because they know who's doing this stuff, and they got this no snitch code in the black community. You know, if you've listened to this show for long enough, you know how I feel about this. If you're not going to help yourselves, I'm not going to help you. I'm damn sure ain't going to have sympathy for you if you can't help yourselves. Those boys didn't just show up there to randomly kill a bunch of people. They were there looking for somebody. They found them. And, of course, I'm sure they had Glock switches. I'm sure that's the root cause of this. But you won't hear the national media talk about Glock switches because, you know, that's a black folks thing. Glock switches. There wasn't no AR-15s involved. No, not interested. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm getting piped up. It's coming. I'm getting my blood flowing. Getting my blood flowing. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, the most incendiary show on the RADIO on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide in stunning HD, as I wear this really good-looking golf shirt this morning, this Callaway golf shirt. I think one of my ex-girlfriends bought it for me, so shout out to the ex-girlfriend. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Ellis Autoplex. Man, if you're in the market for a pre-owned four-door, four-wheel drive, pick-em-up truck, Ellis Autoplex is going to be your one-stop shop right there on Highway 471 in Flowood, Mississippi. If you're heading east on 25, you got through Castlewoods and all that, you're going to take that 471 exit. You're going to hang a right. It's going to be the second dealership on your right. You're going to be Boo's Barbecue right there at the exit. You're going to have another car lot, and then boom, you're going to have Ellis Autoplex. You'll see all the F-150s, all the Silverados. And don't worry, they got cars and SUVs too. And don't forget, they buy vehicles. Look, say you're going to trade your vehicle in somewhere at one of the new car dealerships, and you don't know what it's worth. You want a real number on it. Let Casey put a real number on it for you. He ain't trying to shortchange you. He ain't trying to get the best of, trying to do you dirty. Let him put a real number on it for you. And I'm gonna tell you, 9 times out of 10, he's probably gonna give you he's probably gonna offer you more than the dealership that you're going to trade it in at is gonna offer you. So what do? You sell him the vehicle, and then you go buy whatever it is you want. But heck, most times you might be able to find something there you liked anyway, and you just trade in. You didn't need that new vehicle. You wanted that newer vehicle from Ellis Autoplex. Swing by, see them today. Shop them online, ellisautoplex.com. Make sure to tell them the Clay Edwards Show or WYAB sent you. All the same. All right, let's jump into it. So I wrote a little piece here, and I had Grok clean it up for me. I had Grok clean it up for me a little bit this morning. And here's what it says, kind of the gist of it. When you have a lot of bloodshed like this, a lot of times, you're kind of looking at what the root cause is of it. So Democrats like to talk about root causes and positive solutions. You're not allowed, what I've learned about the black community since I started doing Save Jackson and I started doing all of this media stuff and having this radio show and calling out the chaos and carnage that is Democrat death culture. Kim Wade coined the term Democrat death culture, by the way. I want to make sure I give credit to the OG radio strongman there. Democrat death culture is his coin. It's his phrase that I borrowed, and I turned that into culture rot. So you're not allowed to discuss their problems unless you have a positive solution. Well, they know there is no positive solutions to these problems, so it's how they deflect and they try to get you to not talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it. So I bet you if you were to, once they catch all the bad guys that were responsible for all of these shootings, I will bet you the shirt off my back, there ain't a single father in any of those homes that the shooter hailed from. Not a single father in any of those homes. Not a single 2-parent household. I will be shocked if any of the bad guys came from a single 2-parent household. Understand what I'm saying? They're not a single parent household, a single 2-parent household. Bet you not a single one did. And I believe that it's the single mothers that are the root cause of this. The government, and look, this goes for white people too. This ain't exclusively black, but we're talking about black people today. Remember when they said Black Lives Matter? But we said, well, don't all lives matter? And they said, yeah, but we're talking about black lives right now. Black lives matter right now. So right now we're talking about black families. But yes, all lives do matter. But keeping that energy, going by the rules y'all set forth, we're talking about black lives right now. So I'm honoring y'all's rules that you put forward. So what I see is the government rewarding single motherdom, financially rewarding single motherdom. And what we've done is we've created these mothers who, and this don't go for everybody, and you know damn well if you're a single mom and you're not partaking in this, I'm not talking about you. But to the ones I am talking about, we've created this uncancelable monster. They get this endless stream of income for 18 years a child. They get the EBT, they get whatever government assistance programs are available, and of course they get that big fat unearned tax credit every year per child. So they stagger the births out where they can go about 30 years without having to do anything. You get enough kids piled up. I don't know if they're getting any child support or not. I doubt it. Let's just be honest. I doubt they're getting a lot of child support from Pookie. They lay down. They spread their legs for guys that they have no intentions on marrying. It's a pump and dump scheme, basically. The dude pumps, he dumps, and then the wife, the woman, the wife, most of these people ain't never been married. I ain't frowning upon that. I'm just saying. Then they dump a child out into the world for the public school system and for the streets to raise with the minimal amount of parenting possible. And then we're shocked that the streets, rap music, athletes, and the rotten public school system have raised a little terrorist monster, a thug, because mama sat back, pee-popping on a handstand, naked on Instagram, twerking on the countertop every time something don't go her way at Taco Bell, setting a great example for the kids, filming the little young girls twerking like Sexy Red at 3 and 4 years old, putting it on the internet like it's funny. These are the influences these kids grow up having. These are the influences. So we're creating this monster of a parent because we're incentivizing her to dump these kids out, not raise them, and we're financially incentivizing it. So these are the same women who can go anywhere, show their ass any way they want to, act a damn fool, say whatever they want about anybody on the internet, any way they want to, and they're bulletproof. You gonna call and complain to their manager? Nope. They can call you anything they want. They can act any way they want. And if you remotely try to defend yourself or say anything back, you get shouted down as a racist. Until we cut off that income stream, until we give Quita her pink slip and say, you're fired. We're not doing this anymore. No more government subsidizing of you birthing terrorists and not raising them. And look, I think you go back, you start arresting the damn parents again, or for the first time. The parents of these thugs, if they're under 18, frankly, if they're under 21, let's just be real here. If they're under 21 and they're still living at your house, you need to be arrested too. We've got to figure something out to get these people to start doing a better job raising their kids. Because the way that this is currently going, this ain't working. So Clay Edwards, solely points the finger at two entities. The federal government, the Democrats that started this nonsense, and, of course, the single black mother for not raising their kids and dumping them on society for the rest of us to have to deal with. This is y'all's fault, period, point blank. There's nobody else to blame. I guess you can blame the father, too, for not being involved in the kids' lives, but more times than not, the fathers ran off. The father's pushed out of the scene and out of the house because, again, they're financially incentivized to push him out of the house. It makes no sense what we're doing. We got to take a break. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Y'all don't go nowhere. I'm going to talk to y'all through the 7-minute break at the top of the hour, but I got to get some stuff together. All right, radio audience, we'll be right back in 7 minutes. Y'all don't go nowhere. Rip the knob off. Online audience, don't go anywhere. I'm going to read y'all's comments during the top of the hour news break here. This is the Clay Edwards Show. You got 3 full hours. I'm here till 10 o'clock this morning, and I'll be followed by Andrew Gosser after that. All right, man, let's jump into y'all's comments this morning here during the top of the hour news break. This is one perk to watching online is You get some content the radio audience does not. This is the attack of the Cracker Pack, as the screen says there, and I am the head cracker in charge. I'm taking that word from y'all. You can't say cracker no more. Only I can say it. Only white folks can say cracker. All right, man, let's start with the most recent comment here. This just came in from Roger, watching on Facebook. He says, with all my daily travels, I see a lot of people of different lifestyles in countless areas on the southeastern U.S. I wholeheartedly agree with 98% of what you said about who it is to blame. I will say this. I see a handful of black single moms that are looking. I see a handful of black single looking moms that are doing what they need to do to raise their good humans for this world. Yeah, look, and I made that clear. I'm not talking about everybody, but this is a much bigger issue in the black community than it is in the white community. It just is what it is. But look, and I made it clear. We got our white trash women too that do the exact same thing. But you know what? Every time I cut the news on, I don't see their kids committing mass homicides. I don't see white on white trailer park violence leading the news every night. What does lead the news every night is black on black violence. It just is what it is. So, let's see here. Everinium, you said not true. What's not true? This guy says, I could win a debate. I'm not the only black person here. Let's see. I'm kind of going through your comments here. Let me go up and work my way down. That'll be easier. I'm just going to start back around right here. I don't know what your name is. Cod Jeffy Heffy. That's a weird name. I don't know what that means. It says, you actually think it's parents excited that these kids are out here doing all this nonsense? Think when we were young, our parents didn't have a clue what we were really into when we left home. Bro, there's a difference in, I don't think the parents are excited about this, but you're raising little monsters. Well, actually, that's the problem. The parents aren't raising their kids. And there's a big difference in what we were doing. I'm 48, so I was raised in the 80s and 90s. That's when I was doing my most damage out there. They were like, I'm going to share all the good news. We're going to use the Save Jackson name, and we're going to post all the good news. They get about 5 posts in, and they run out of good news to talk about. That's what I felt like the media wasn't talking about these things, and why I started this. I felt like the media was ignoring all this. Well, I was living it. I lived in Jackson until 3 years ago, in South Jackson. You can run, go stick your head in the sand and lie about what is and what ain't going on to some other people, some other white people. You can't do it to me. I owned a predominantly black nightclub for 10 years. My dad owned a store on Lynch Street for 40. I lived in the thick of black culture my entire life. 45 of my 48 years. You can run, go tell that to somebody else. I got to be quiet for a second. We're coming back from the break. Boom, shakalaka boom. We're back. It's the top of hour 2 here on the most incendiary show on the RADIO. That last segment, that last hour tells you why this is the number one morning show in the state of Mississippi. Because we have the tough conversations that other radio hosts run from. Well, not other radio hosts on this station, but other radio hosts across the United States are scared to talk about this. But at WYAB, we are not. Us, myself, Kim Wade, Andrew Gosser, who's going to be here in hour 3, and the other hosts here on this station are not afraid to discuss these things. We run head first. When the house is on fire, we run towards it, not from it. And the house is on fire right now in these urban, not even urban, period, in these predominantly black communities. The house is on fire. And I don't know how you put it out. I really don't. We're going to get back to that conversation. I ran into some interesting comments during the break there. I want to pick that conversation back up real quick. We'll tell you about all our great sponsors here in a little bit. We're here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. You can get a free testosterone screening scheduled today. I'm running at peak testosterone right now. I'm just going to tell y'all. Like, my nads dropped somewhere after I started doing all this testosterone, and I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared of nothing. It has got me fully unhinged and uncensored, and I love it. I love it. And I credit the testosterone at Men's Health Mississippi for it. I truly do. Text Clay to 601-800-5130 today. Schedule your free testosterone screening. It all starts with knowing what your levels are. All right, so this kid is watching. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Jeffy Heffy. That's weird to begin with. That's like low testosterone name right there. Just put your name up there, and not your gamer tag, your code name, your street name, whatever it is. Anyway, he says, I don't think you have guests on because you don't want to be challenged, and you paint this narrative as if black people think it's okay. I'm young, black, and from Jackson, and we don't agree with this. Well, I told him during the break, I said, look, if you don't like what I'm doing, or you think that you can paint a different narrative, what you should do is do exactly what I did. Start a platform. Start a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a TikTok, whatever, and address these issues. Call out your community and be the difference. Be the positive solution. Because that's what I did. I was living in Jackson. Y'all know the story. I think I've been gone 4 years now. I said 3. I'm 48. I moved out to Rankin County when I was about 4 years ago. What month is it? I moved out there in March of 21. So whatever that is. I've been gone from Jackson since March of 21. I started calling all this crap out. I thought the media was not doing their job. They were ignoring the elephant in the room. When the elephant in the room was simple. It was black culture is the problem in Jackson. This modern version of black culture. Let's talk about it. I think Shedeur Sanders is a great example of black culture going awry. We heard all summer, since the NFL draft, we had to hear about the NFL was racist. It was like a slave plantation. It was like a slave auction. And it was a racist conspiracy theory that Shedeur Sanders slid down the draft to the 5th round because he's black. And the NFL is scared of strong, independent black men from a home with a good father. But the number 1 overall pick was a black guy from a good home with a strong father. Yeah, but he's not authentically black. But he's black. What is authentically black? Oh, you mean clown car black? You mean George Floyd black? You mean hip-hop culture black? Authentically black. Ghetto is what he ain't ghetto. Or Shedeur's ghetto, and that just connects better. People are tired of it, man. People are tired. We're fed up. Black fatigue, ghetto fatigue, whatever you want to call it, is peak. And people are fed up. Bringing it back to Mississippi. All that crap that happened over the weekend. Every bit of it. Black on black. It's not a coincidence. It's culture rot. I want to read a text message from somebody here on the Guns and Gear text line. And it's somebody who usually disagrees with a lot of what I have to say. So I do appreciate this text here from up in Memphis. Says, I am only with you when you're right. And you are right. And keep talking about what you're talking about because it's the primary problem with us. Like Tupac said, even though his mother was a crack fiend, she was still a black queen. No, she was a J. Because she was a crack fiend. Anyway, we give grandma them too. We give grandma them too much credit, and they are only senior citizen permanent welfare queens who raised a bunch of old convicted felons and hoes and crackheads all by herself without a piece of a granddaddy. Granddaddy may have died, though, but afterwards grandma messed up everything, being ignorant and foolish because she didn't really want granddaddy anyway, and she was glad he's dead. Party time. Deion Sanders was raised by a single-parent household. I get what he's saying there. You know, they put grandma. What it is they put the black single mother on the pedestal. It's the patriarchy, and the patriarchy. I'm sorry, is it the patriarchy or matriarchy? I get them damn confused. Comments, let me know. Is it the patriarchy or matriarchy? Anyway, the one where women rule the world. That's the matriarchy, isn't it? The motherdom, matriarchy, the M. Yeah, matriarchy. They worship the matriarchy instead of the patriarchy. And it's the patriarchy that works. So, yeah, I do agree. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's matriarchy. Let's read some more of the text on the Guns and Gear text line. Unknown texter. He was on a burner this morning, but I want to read all of his text. This is Jimmy. I'm sorry. I said unknown texter. It says there's more than one ways to skin a cat. Fart spray is one. Spill a drink on a passing by cops. There's a lot of ways to address the situation in public. The fart spray, you spray it on the napkin and drop it on the floor at someone's table. A friend of mine is horrible with this kind of thing. I don't condone messing with people's vehicles, but I was told zip ties. If at a grocery store, zip tie the buggies to a door handle. Take blue strips to snitch. Lady was shot in the head on Cynthia Street and 49 area. This is a lot of random text here, brother. Let's see here. Wild Bill says, was Friday night the purge and we just didn't get the memo? I believe so. The Mazda Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. Somebody called during the break. I don't answer during the break. Jerry says the blacks on Mississippi were feeling left out of the national news. Yeah, Jackson made Fox News several times, or Mississippi made Fox News several times. Let's see here. Woman fatally shot. That was in Texas. Sorry, man. When I read these texts, guys, I know it's a little out of whack. Mayla Brooks was the county supervisor in Leland. Thank you, Greg. Greg also says the JSU incident left a lot of people stranded. I couldn't get to Uber riders because police closed off roads. Some of these people had small kids trying to get out of there. Yeah, you know, that's the other thing. It's just a slap disrespect of doing these kind of things in public. You know, there's complete disregard for your fellow citizens when you go out to these events and you do this dumb stuff. Like, what's the point? You know, the shooting at the JSU game, the shootings at the parade in Jackson over the last couple of years. It's all ridiculous. And you're putting so many other people in danger. Let's keep reading some text here. Thomas on the Guns and Gear text line says, apparently a kid was injured and shot in the stomach at the JSU tailgate. You would think Ben Crump and BLM for a living people would care so much they'd come down to Jackson and do something, but it's not profitable. I would say send in the Guard, but if they don't care, why should Trump? You know, I hadn't even got to that this morning. I said this early on my live stream Saturday morning. It's time to send the military into these black communities and cut this cancer out for good. Find the hoodlums and their parents and cut this cancer out. Guys, I know a lot of y'all just aren't in the thick of this battle like I am. And you want to pretend that it's not as bad as it looks. Clay, these are just kind of random incidents. It ain't as bad as it looks. Clay, why are you blaming the black mother? She's doing the best she can. And a lot are. But a lot aren't. It is absolutely a pump and dump scheme to milk the government for money so they don't have to work. So they produce just enough kids. If one dies, they got another one. I know that sounds harsh, but that is exactly what's going on here. They're not raising these kids. If they were raising these kids, right, we wouldn't be having these problems consistently in the same community. Why is this even a sensitive topic? Why is this even controversial? It's factual. And that's why people have a hard time talking about it, because they know I'm right. That's why let me circle this back to school choice. We constantly hear about how school choice will fix a lot of this. Clay, school choice. These kids deserve better, Clay. All you're going to do, you can take one of these rotten kids, one of these toxic cancers from Jackson, for example, and you can drop them out in Brandon, Madison, wherever else. And if they're still going back home to a rotten culture in the house, and all you're doing is moving a rotten culture to Brandon or Madison. It's not going to fix until you can fix what's going on in the home. What's going on outside does not matter. If they're going home and mama is teaching them that anything that don't go right in their life is because they're black, they're never going to amount to anything. They got a built-in excuse. And we just see it too often. You know, for years and years and years, we were taught not to be racist. We were taught to treat our black brothers and sisters the way we want to be treated. But come to find out, in their homes, they're being taught to hate us and that everything that's wrong in their lives is our fault. That ain't what I signed up for. That ain't what I thought was going on. I thought we were all trying to be friends. And it was about equality. Not equity, equality. But come to find out, in a large portion of the black homes, these kids are being taught to hate us while we're being taught to love them. And I 100% blame it on black Gen X and the kids they raised. And that's what's got us in this mess. Let's take a break, come back, pivot. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Phone line's wide open. 601-879-0002. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We'll be right back. All right, let's read some more text here. Comments. Y'all keep talking about debate. Ain't nothing to debate. This is just facts, man. I don't like it. This is uncomfortable. I wish I didn't have to do this show today. I wish I didn't have to do it. Look, I've given the number out 100 times. 601-879-0002. And this just tells you the level of ignorance right here. England wasn't ran by a queen. The colonizers didn't have the royalty doesn't have any power over there. Queen Elizabeth didn't run anything except a castle. But this makes a good point. England was ran by Queen Elizabeth my whole life, but hey, she wasn't black. Just goes to show, man, y'all worship the woman. Were you raised with your daddy in the house? I'm just curious. This is a great point here. America would be number one in everything if we weren't always dragging around dead weight. World War II proved that. Jonah says, I feel sorry for young children that have witnessed this. You know it has to be traumatizing for them. Oh, yeah, I mean, PTSD for sure. Ricky says, remember when Frank Melton sent the guard into Jackson and got it done? Yeah, I'm glad y'all said that. I got a little distracted. I'm going to bring that up. I want to talk about the guard coming into these places. I got a little off track in that last segment. Some of those text messages made absolutely no sense, and it just sabotaged that whole segment. The Truth Seeker says, black men and women to blame. They need to stop having kids they can't take care of and love. And that goes for everybody. You know, if you don't plan on actually raising your kids to be a productive member of society, don't have them. Society, I speak for society. We don't want them. I don't want to raise your kids. I don't want to deal with your little badass kids. Yeah, you know, this is a great follow-up. The King and Queen of England do not run the country of England. That's hilarious. He tried to use that as his example. Again, defending the matriarchy. The matriarchy is there's a reason why. I mean, I'm going to get in trouble here. There's a reason why we didn't let women vote for a long time. I mean, you know, all this dumb shit that they keep shoving down our throats, it's all women in politics that have brought all this dumb shit to the table. The trans agenda, the LGBTQ agenda, all this nonsense is crap that women in politics brought to the table. I mean, we need to go back to just property owners being able to vote. I'll gladly forfeit my voting rights if just property owners can vote. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Well, we are on a barn burner in the comments on the live stream. I apologize for that last segment there. Some of those texts were just a little out of order, and there was no context to them. It kind of sabotaged that segment a little bit there. I do appreciate the texters. I should have read their text sooner. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Shelter Insurance. Agent Jamie Creel, located right here in Florida, Mississippi at the Cotton Exchange Plaza, as well as Highway 51 North right there in Ridgeland, Mississippi, next to Fleet Feet in that same shopping center. So reach out to Jamie and let him get you a quote on your insurance today. Maybe he can save you some money. He can dang sure get you some better insurance. And if you're with one of these national carriers and you don't have a local agent, you just went to their website and did it, what are you doing with yourself? Get you a local agent. Makes all the difference in the world to be able to call and talk about your problems with somebody, with your friends and neighbors that can actually work with you on your problems. It's easy for them to tell you no when they never have to see you. It gets a lot harder for them to tell you no when you can walk in their office and look them eye to eye and have a conversation. Like, you know what? Let me see what I can get done for you. Let me see what I can get done for you. And big difference. That's why having a local agent matters. Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance Agent. Let's go to the Mazda Jackson phone line. Take our first call of the day. Hey, you're on there.
What's going on this morning, Clay?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm blessed. I ain't going to complain. Got nobody to complain to.
Oh, you got me.
Hey, that's right, yeah. Hey, I got up Sunday morning. I always wake up 3 or 4, and I was going to put on the news. And I'm like, surely somebody's covering all this. Well, I saw Fox. They popped up, hey, it was mass shooting. 4 dead. I was like, here we go. Well, it was in South Carolina at a bar.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. Another 20 people shot. 20 people shot, 4 dead.
Right, I was thinking it was a resort town or something, so I Googled it, and it was on the corner of Martin Luther King Drive.
Yep.
And then that's the last time I heard of it. I was like, what is going on this weekend?
Oh, look, there was a mass shooting in Montgomery, Alabama last weekend. 18 or 20 people shot in downtown Montgomery. Again, all black on black. So it just fizzles out because it doesn't fit the narrative.
It doesn't fit the narrative. I was wondering if it was a homecoming up there in South Carolina. Like, what is going on? Wasn't there one at Alcorn? Didn't somebody get killed down there too?
3 shot, 1 dead on campus.
Okay. I was trying to keep up with you on Chip because the news ain't reported it. I pulled up 12. They didn't say nothing about it. 3 barely said anything. 16 barely said anything. It's like, put it on the back burner, I guess. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, I just want equal outrage. It's what I've been demanding. You know, blacks and everybody, they scream they want equality. They want equality. Well, I want equality. I want equal coverage when they commit violent crimes. I want equal outrage from the media. I mean, I guess, ironically, I probably don't, because if they started pushing the ban gun agenda every time somebody black killed somebody else that was black, there would be a whole lot of banning gun talk. And you know what? I could do without that.
Right. Well, I was watching this morning, and I'm going to give the left network was all over Trump this morning, all the networks, but, you know, CNN went going back blaming it on everything else, but they were showing Trump over there.
Yeah, I was listening to that press conference on the way in this morning, Trump over there in Israel. So, yeah, by the way, Trump brought peace to the Middle East. Let's not forget that.
I wonder what they're going to protest. I guess we're going to go back to the no kings because they can't from the sea to the river, whatever it was.
The river to the sea.
Protest that no more. Yeah. So
Trump freed Palestine. Trump freed Palestine and brought peace to the Middle East, but they gave some woman the Nobel Peace Prize that fought for voting rights in Venezuela or somewhere.
Well, I heard over the weekend she was going to give it to Trump. She was praising Trump.
You know, I don't think she gave it to him. I don't think she has the ability to do that.
They just wanted to get their 5 minutes on the spotlight. That's all it is. That's it. All right, brother, let me get back in this traffic. Lakeland's locked down northbound. So
all right, brother.
I'll talk to you later.
Take it sleazy.
Right, big safe.
Appreciate Chris calling in. If you want to call in, 601-879-0002 is the Mazda of Jackson phone line. You can always shop Mazda Jackson online at mazdaofjackson.com, the home of the lifetime powertrain warranty and a year free of basic maintenance on all new Mazda sold. mazdajackson.com. All right, man, let's read a couple. Well, looks like we got another call coming in. Let's see. Look at the caller ID. All right, we got a number. That qualifies it to get answered around here. Hey, you're on there.
Clay, what up, man? Ricky Brazil here.
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I put this in your Facebook comments, but I wanted to say this, man. I'm a white guy, 43 years old, grew up in a single-family house. Mom did everything she could to keep everything running. My dad was an alcoholic, screwed around on women. The difference is I have mentors come around me, other men come around me and teach me the value of hard work, what it means. I went through college, played baseball, run a successful business. What I get sick and damn tired of is these people, these men stepping up and saying, oh, we're going to mentor these young black kids. But when they mentor them, they teach them what it means to be a victim, instead of teaching them what it means to be a contributing part of society. The difference is the mentors I had, brother, they taught me what it means to the value of hard work, strapping on your boots every day, going out, making a living for your family, being a positive contributor to our society. On the flip side, they're teaching these kids, be a victim, get what's owed to you. There ain't shit that's owed to anyone, man. You can, despite what the media and everyone says, you know this, you can be a contributing part, you can be a successful part of society. I know many black people, lawyers, doctors, what have you, man, that have become successful because in this nation that we live in, you can go to college, you can get a degree, or you don't have to go to college and still be successful. But what we need in the black community is mentors, churches, people to step up and say, we're going to end the victim mentality. We're going to teach these kids that through hard work and positive attitude, they can make something of themselves. And until that happens, it's still going to be a giant shithole, man.
I agree, brother. I agree. Appreciate the call, Richie.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yep. Got to be quick on that button there, that dump button. let a couple words slide through. Yeah. Look, that's the other thing. I'm just nauseated with these quote unquote mentors. There's an entire industrial complex in these black communities. And this should just tell you just how rotten the culture is and how jacked up these black communities are, that there's all these mentor programs because they know that there's a fatherlessness epidemic in these communities. Start holding the damn fathers accountable. Instead of creating all these mentor programs that you're getting these government grants for and you clearly aren't doing a good job. I mean, clearly not doing a good job. I'm not saying some aren't. I'm sure there's some that are doing a good job. All right. But obviously not overall, not doing a good job. It's an industrial complex. I mean, I'm just convinced that none of this is by accident. What has happened in the black community should be studied for decades to come. It absolutely should. But at the end of the day, accountability. Start holding these mothers who raise these little terrorists accountable. Start holding the fathers who opted out of their kids' lives accountable. If you're a father and you really want to be in your kid's life, the family law system will make that happen. It may only be every other weekend, but every other weekend is better than no weekend, bro. But I know why you ain't. Because, if you get caught up in that system, you got to pay that child support. You got to start shaming these parents. I'm talking to the other citizens out there. Start shaming these parents who aren't raising their kids right. But nobody's perfect. We get it. And I understand it takes a village to raise a child. But at some point, there's got to be some good people in that village that aren't just dumping their kids out into the streets. The village is taxed out. We need you all to start being parents. We need these churches to actually start doing something. But none of that matters. It ain't the church's responsibility. It ain't the village's responsibility. It's the parents' responsibility. You're laying down, you're spreading your legs with dude you just met, knowing dang well you ain't got no intentions on being with this guy past one night. You're getting knocked up. I ain't never seen a group of people who are so fertile, by the way. Oh my God. Black dudes are the most fertile creatures on planet Earth. Well, they're not fertile, but you know what I mean. The women are fertile. Black men, their sperm is the most active. They are not shooting blanks, my friends. They are not shooting blanks. I mean, they just bump into somebody and they're pregnant. My goodness. But just raise your kids. It ain't that hard. But it is. It's very hard to raise your kids. But, that comes with laying down with somebody and having kids. And the texts are blowing up. The live chat's blowing up. We got to take a break. Live chat, I'm going to stick with y'all during the break. Phone line's wide open, 601-879-0002. I don't even know what to ask anymore. I mean, what do you do? What do y'all think? I know we can send in the military. There's a lot of Band-Aids over a bullet wound. that we can do to pause what's going on. But we can't start building concentration camps. I mean, what do? I mean, I say one thing you do is you cut the income off. You cut the income stream off. You cut the head of the snake off. And when it's no longer financially beneficial for them to do this, you cut that earned tax credit off. I mean, it's gonna suck for a little while. A couple years are gonna be rough as these people figure out they're gonna have to go work. I can't afford that kid, so I'm not gonna have a kid. You know, it's gonna take about a decade to right the ship. But I think you just got to cut the faucet off, and that's going to be the only thing that fixes this. And you're going, oh well, Clay, but the fallout from that, how are they going to eat? Figure it out. They're like the rest of us do. Start a podcast. I don't care. Start dancing on TikTok. You're a clown anyway. We'll be right back. All right. Let's see here. Lost Sheep on X says, they're not shooting bikes in the sheets. They're not shooting blanks in the sheets. They're not shooting blanks in the streets. Correct. Oh, man. Some of these comments. Jonathan says, it's starting now with SNAP benefits overhaul. Yeah, I'm telling you. I just think it's short term. I say we got to start locking people up and we got to cut the money off. I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to read your chats that aren't responses to other people. Put a caller on hold here. Thank you, Helena. Fertile applies to both men and women. I appreciate that. Hey, look, man, when you talk yourself into a hole, I talk myself into corners a lot, and I got to kind of come out swinging when I back myself into a corner. And sometimes you just have brain farts in live time. It's hell doing this stuff live. You know, you watch these TikToks and all these videos of people. They seem like the best talkers in the world. There's edits. You can see where they break. They'll talk for like 10 seconds. They'll stop, gather their thoughts, start back. I never do that. Like, you know, on my TikToks and everything else, I do one take. I don't do edits. In live radio, you can back yourself into a corner, articulate, with lack of articulation sometimes. I'll be the first to admit it. Truth Seeker says, what we need are better parents or people taking responsibility for their own lives. Mentors can save people's mentors can't save people. We can only save ourselves. Yep. All right, now this is a good comment here from Jeffy. We're just going to call you Jeffy. That's the only name that makes any sense here for me. Let me check my schedule real quick. All right, we got a couple minutes before we come back from the break. Jeffy says, I'm black and I don't know what the fuck is going on. This shit is beyond crazy and nobody know where all these guns are coming from. Now that is a great point. The guns. Where are all the guns coming from? The amount of guns in the streets, and that's why I laugh when people talk about banning guns. Like, ban guns. Bro, there's more guns than there are people in America. I think there's enough guns for every American to have 3. And that's if they never make another one. You ain't banning guns. That's just asinine. Where are these people getting the guns? And it ain't gun shows. I mean, a lot of it's stolen. It's crazy, man. The amount of guns in the streets. I was going to say it on live radio. I think I'll say it now. There's something. What's happened in the black community cannot be an accident. It has got to be a design. Because it's too much. There's no way. You could not design the fall of a group of people better than how the black community has crashed and burned. And it looked like a self-inflicted gunshot wound nonetheless. It is insane. You know, you can blame it on the CIA putting crack in there and all that. You didn't have to sell crack. But the fatherlessness, the welfare, the violence, the prison, all this stuff that the Democrat Party did to the black community, and they're still just ride or die for the Democrat Party. I mean, I'm going to stop. I'm going to save this for the radio. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. It's Monday Fun Day around here. Monday at Martin's. How about that? A little Martin's for lunch. Monday at Martin's. Swing by the Livingston location or the downtown Jackson location. Get one of the best plate lunches in the state of Mississippi. Hang out, have a drink at the bar. If you go to Livingston, sit down, hang out with my buddy Justin. He works the bar at the Livingston location. Enjoy a cold beer. They got a bunch of great beers on draft. My go-to lately has been the Key City Brewery Mississippi Queen. I like that, especially on draft. It's good. It's real good. And they got it on draft at both Martin's locations, I believe. I know they got it in Gluckstadt. And, of course, at the Gluckstadt location, the Livingston location, whatever you want to call it, Livingston, they also have a market out there, a gas station. And you can buy some of your favorite Martin's items, their side dishes, they're available. The same steaks they sell at Martin's, you can buy ready to cook and take it home and cook it yourself there at the market. So many great options, their pork skins and more. Of course, Martin's Downtown is home of some of the best touring live music in the country. Check them out online, martinsdowntownjxn.com. Check out both Facebook pages, Martin's Livingston or Martin's Downtown JXN. Try the country fried steak. You know I love it. Also, another great item, Calvin's Steak Bites. They're cooked to order. If you like yours rare, you can get them rare. I get mine with the peppers and onions. So good. All right, that's Martin's, one of my favorite restaurants. Let's go to the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Hey.
Hey.
This is Harvey.
Hey.
Harvey from Memphis. I'm a truck driver. I love your show. And it's a lot of laziness going on. That's part of the problem. If the mother is lazy and trifling and popping out babies, then that's what the kid is going to see. Society, young black men been pampered by their mother, like you said. And I'm black. I'm out here driving a truck.
Thank you.
Okay? I don't have time to make excuses because the bill collectors want their money. So it's time to get up and stop making too many excuses. I got guns. I'm not out shooting people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's too many excuses in the black community. I'm sick of the crime in Memphis. Glad the National Guard is there. Thrilled about it. Because it's time to put a chokehold on this ignorance.
Can I say something real quick to what you said about Memphis? I follow a bunch of other content creators, black content creators, and they've been Anton Daniels and some of those guys. They've been doing a lot of videos about the Memphis stuff, and they're pulling videos from black folks like yourself in Memphis who are praising that the National Guard is there. This black woman was saying the other day that for the first time since she's lived in this neighborhood she's able to walk her children up and down the streets outside and play in the front yard. And that's called quality of life. And it's something that I talk about so much on this show is there's so many people who just have PTSD and they're brainwashed by this violence around them that they think that that's just the way life is, that it's like that everywhere. No, bro, it ain't like that everywhere. It is a whole nother way to live. You do not have to live like that. There's quality of life, which takes this weight off of your chest. And I can't explain it till you lived it. Because I lived the same way in South Jackson here, till just a few years ago. I moved out there to Brandon, and I felt like the handcuffs had been taken off of me, man. Anyway, I apologize.
Well,
I'm just saying the guard is doing a good job. I just don't know what you're going to do when the guard leaves. But
well, here's the thing. I just moved over into DeSoto County,
great area,
in Mississippi. Now, they know better. They're supposed to be so tough, But you notice the Soto County don't need the National Guard because State Line Road is a gun line. They gonna straighten you out when you cross that line.
Now they got Sheriff
So they
Tuggle.
know where to act up at.
Sheriff
So
Tuggle ain't gonna play.
No, sir. So I've been studying this for years. I'm almost 60 years old. I've been driving trucks 33 years. They know where to act up at, okay? Because they're going to run into DeSoto County, and when they get at them, they always run back to Memphis. So I don't want to hear that about something wrong with you. You know where to act up at. So if you can act right when you cross into Mississippi, you can act right in Memphis. Am I right?
Yeah, look, we got the same thing here. I live in Brandon now, and Jackson's the same way. The mayor of Pearl, Jake Wyndham, coined it the criminal safe haven of Jackson, Mississippi. They get these criminals over in Pearl, which is one of the one of the suburbs here, borders up against Jackson, and they try to run back to Jackson. And he said they try to escape to the criminal safe haven of Jackson. And man, they know where they can get away with this foolishness and where they can't.
That's right. That's right. I don't feel sorry for them.
No.
I'm sick of the community, black community, making excuses. We got to take accountability. We got to straighten out our own problem. We can't look for the Democrat Party, the government, to fix our problem. First, you got to get up and go to work. Who are your pants up? It ought to be against the law, walking around here with your dirty drawers showing.
Amen.
We got to clean up our own community. Stop throwing trash on the ground and then blaming the white man. Well, what the white man got to do with the burglaries, the murders, the trash on the ground? It's us. We got to make a change.
Let me ask you a question. You listen to my show a little bit. Do you think I'm a racist for calling this stuff out?
Man, look, I'm worse than you. No, it needs to be told. I'm sick of all of this racism. Why don't we look at ourselves? I listen to your show. I'm a truck driver. I drive from Memphis to New Orleans. And I listen to your show on the radio.
Thank you.
And I just happened to tune in today, and I had to call you.
I appreciate it. I truly do. And you're the kind of guy that I'm fighting for out here, and I'm saying this stuff because I know there's not enough people in your community that are doing it, and I appreciate you having the sack to call into this show and listen to this show and understand that this is not a racist attack. I'm calling out the black community because I grew up in the black community. I love the black community, and I'm telling you, there's a problem that if we don't fix it now, it's never going to get right. We got an opportunity with Trump in office, with his ability, with his willingness to send the military in to fix this thing. We need to take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of us and fix this thing.
Well, I tell you what, the Democrats wasn't hooping and hollering when the Hispanics was in the black community fixing up a lot of them houses, easing on in. See, I've been driving trucks long enough that I've seen them bringing the people in. I don't have nothing against them folks. But black folks just want to lose their own community, and then they want to get mad at the Hispanics, but you're not even taking care of your own community. You know.
You nailed it, brother.
Somebody else got to come in the country, fix up, making the houses nice. But we won't do it. You know, it's laziness. I'm talking laziness.
Oh, no. You see these people talking about Trump's going to make black people slaves again. Look, if you're going to make anybody slaves, it's going to be the Mexicans. They ain't scared to work.
Thank you.
I got to.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up there, brother. Thank you so much. I got to
right.
take my break. Stay safe out there. Call in anytime you want to.
I'm going to call back. I'm tuning in now. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. That call of the year right there. Love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Here live on WYAB. Man, that was an epic phone call. I'm going to clip that out, load it up as a standalone clip. That is what I'm fighting for, guys. Those are the men and women that I get up here and I do this for. And y'all can say whatever you want to say about me. I don't care. Knowing that there's men out there like that who aren't scared to stand up for their community. The text messages that poured in support of that man were just amazing. My buddy Brent, and shout out to Brent for getting the opportunity to go work out at First Form Fitness and to meet Andy Frisella we're going to have to talk about that, Brent. Brent said this. We got about a minute before the top of the hour here. We got a third hour today, too, by the way. It's a 3-hour show today. Don't go nowhere. Brent says on the Guns and Gear text line, this is a story that breaks my heart. Gentlemen like this that are burdened for his community and just can't catch a break. The stress and heartache these folks live with is unfair and unearned. And, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely phenomenal phone call. And that's it, man. People are fed up. You know, these useless piece of crap, black for a living, Democrats, race peddlers, hustlers, they can call me whatever they want. Just don't call me Colette, because I ain't going nowhere. If I didn't get paid to do this, I would keep doing it for free. We'll be right back. All right, let's see here. I saw a comment that I wanted to address real quick. I think somebody compared me to Charleston White. I like it. Yes, none of your business, says Clay is the white Charleston White. Seriously, I'll take the compliment. Thank you very much. And they also said that South Jackson is like a war in Iraq. So many guns with switches, so many youngsters with no brains. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy. Bring in the military. Bring in the military. Truth Seeker says Atlanta will be mostly white in a few more years. Well, it's already the transgender capital of America. There are more black trans women, which means men that think they're girls, in Atlanta than anywhere else in the country. That is quite the stat there. So I don't know when it'll be white, but it is definitely gay. Definitely gay. Let me see here. Truth Seeker says Madison don't have long either. You're going to have to move further out. That's true. Ridgeland is about lost. All right, I got to take my break. We got Andrew Gosser coming up in here in the studio with me for the next hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're going to circle back to all this shooting stuff. We're not letting it go. I'm not sticking my head in the sand and ignoring it. This show exists. This show exists because I'm not scared to talk about local topics that other people run from. We don't run from them. We're going to talk about it. Trump did some great stuff. All the other hosts, I'm sure, will talk about that today. But this morning on the Clay Edwards Show, we're talking about black culture rot. And we're not going to ignore it. We ain't going to run from it. We ain't going to pretend it's just isolated. It ain't isolated. It's a trend. And we're going to talk about it the entire 3 hours this morning. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Boom, shakalaka boom. We're back here live on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide at SaveJXN on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and then at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. This segment brought to you by, how about my friends over at Big River Ballistics. Guys, with all that's going on in the world, especially on a weekend after a weekend like this last one, it is good to be able to know how to shoot your gun. And you can become a member, because everywhere, look, man, most people don't have the luxury of living on a farm or out in the country where they can go out and shoot their gun willy-nilly wherever they want, as often as they want, and practice as much as they want. Most of us, people like myself, got to go join a shooting range, a shooting club. And you can do just that out at Big River Ballistics, located in Morton, Mississippi, over off McCurdy Road, 2364 McCurdy Road, to be exact. And, hey, first responders, veterans, you guys are getting 10% off everything in the pro shop, that's the gun store, and memberships. Check them out online, bigriverballistics.com. And, hey, I saw some video my buddy Tyler Tharp posted over the weekend. I think he had his wife out there, Allison, shooting on their range that goes up to 1,150 feet. That's 1,150 feet. That's huge. yards, not feet, 1,150 yards. Guys, get out there, practice your targeting, practice your shooting. And here's the thing, you can rent guns from them. You want to shoot on a big cannon? I mean, not a literal cannon, but like a big 50 cal. You want to do any of that crazy stuff? You want to shoot a fully automatic gun? You can. You can rent them there and get with one of their instructors. All kind of cool options available. You and the guys want to go out there and have a guys' day and just shoot a bunch of cool guns. You don't even have to bring your own. You can do that at Big River Ballistics. We're going to be doing that here soon with the Clay Edwards Show listeners. I'm going to work on that this week, getting that booked with Tyler and them out there. See if we can involve some barbecue and guns and have a good old time. But anyway, check them out online, BigRiverBallistics.com, or swing by and see them in person today out there off McCurdy Road in Morton, Mississippi. That's Big River Ballistics. Welcome to the show, guys. All right, man, speaking of welcome to the show, I got the man sitting across from me right here. This is Mr. Andrew Gosser. Andrew is a host here on WYAB. Andrew, let me plug your headphones in, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Andrew is a host here from 10 to noon on WYAB. Andrew, talk.
Yep. So, you were talking about Big River Ballistics, and I can't stress enough to people, especially some of us retired types who are either retired Leo, retired military. Sometimes we often forget how important it is to remain proficient in the usage of our firearm. That means dry firing, practice drawing, actually going out in a range. And 1,150 yards was what we could go out to.
1,150.
Yeah, that's a good shot. So you're going to be tested there with your windage and all of that stuff. So that's a really cool idea. And I'm going to have to take the Sweepy out there. We shoot pretty regularly on our farm, but doing shots over 200 yards on our farm is a little bit difficult just because of how the geography is. Don't have a good way to stop something. You don't just want to go out on your farm and just start blasting. You're going to upset your neighbors, potentially take out a farm animal or worse, and you don't want to do that. So that's going to be an awesome event for you, Clay. That's going to be really cool.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun, man. It'll be a blast. The Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Just wrapping up with that last phone call at the end of the first hour. Just a great call. Thank you, man. A lot of text on the Guns and Gear text line from folks that just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing out there, being a truck driver and standing up and fighting in your community against all this violence and chaos. So we do appreciate that. Fellow lived up in Memphis, drives truck through from Memphis to New Orleans every day. Was listening, called in, black fella.
Yep.
And he liked what we were cooking.
I think most reasonable people, we talk about it all the time, the people not on the far left because they're so far gone they're never going to listen, but the great majority of the people who are somewhere in the middle, whether it be middle right, middle left, they'll sit there and they'll listen and they'll actively think about what is being presented to them, and they'll be able to reasonably come to a conclusion that says, this culture that has invaded the black community and other communities too, this gangster type of living, it's all coming home to roost right now, and this all started back in the early 80s and in the mid 90s with all this glamorization of the gangster lifestyle, thug life. And I know because I used to listen to it all. I can sit there and go and talk about all that stuff. I'm glad I didn't end up rolling down that path, but it's all now had generations to get baked into the culture, where no longer are they not holding on to their traditional values, but they're getting rid of the fathers in the homes. And when that happens, things go a mess, and people can say, oh, you don't understand. Well, I do understand. My dad left early too. And I can see from my own upbringing how hard my mom had it. She worked 3 jobs, dude. 3 jobs to make sure that her kids could eat.
You mean she didn't just sit back and draw a check and
never, dude,
go EBT shopping and use y'all's big earned tax credit at the end of the year?
I'm not sure if they had that, but no, we never did that. In fact, I was working at 9 years old. My sister started working at 9 years old. We all worked at the local restaurant there. I was a busboy and a sous chef making salads 3 days a week. Dude, I get paid $5, which I'd give to my mom because that was a lot of money back then, and that would go for groceries, and then I'd get paid $2 to play a game of asteroids and a game of pinball. And, dude, it worked out great. Taught me hard work ethic, and to go ahead and live through some tough times. And I don't think we got that figured out right now.
So to catch you up here, I blamed the violence over the weekend on the single black mother. Now, not every single black mother.
Mm-hmm.
And not every single mother. Look, I know some really hardworking single moms out there. There's different kinds of single moms. There's different situations. There's mothers who are single because they're widowed. There's mothers who are single because the father was just a piece of crap and left. A bunch of different reasons. And then there's the other single mother, the one that we seem to promote the most, the one that we put up on a pedestal as part of the matriarchy, is the single mother who is part of the single mother industrial complex.
That's awesome.
And these are the ones that they keep telling us, shut up, a black woman's talking. These are the ones that go out, they spread their legs, they get knocked up by a man that they have no intentions on being with. They're like, impregnate me so I can get into the system and get me a little paycheck for the next 18 years. And all these kids for these women are pay raises. A second kid, that's a pay raise. Third kid, that's a promotion and a pay raise. And so if one dies, they got another one ready to go. I mean, they're never without a kid, so they're never without a paycheck. And, you know, look, man, I worked in the buy here, pay here car business. Mm-hmm. There's things I know about the black community hustle that folks would just never, ever believe is true. They swap kids with their sisters and stuff, and they'll give custody of one of the kids to the mama so she can keep getting a check. I'm telling you, bro, I've seen it all.
Wow.
And that's the industrial complex. That's the single mother crap that I'm talking about. So to the good, hardworking single moms out there that, you know, you're not a single mom by choice. Mm-hmm. We're not talking to you. And also, there's other single moms out there who have chosen to be single, and the father's still in the kid's life. You're not a single mom. You're just a single whore. There's a big difference. You're not a single parent. You're a single mom. There's a difference. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Not all of you are raising kids by yourselves. Some of you are raising a kid with a man. You're just not in the same house.
Yep.
There's just so many levels to this, you know, and those are the other ones. A lot of them too, I get really frustrated with because they want a cookie. I can't tell you how many messages I get. Can you help a single mom? Blah blah blah. Why are you single first?
Yep, and the whole thing is it's completely walking away from the values that we had when this country started. If you look at the black family specifically, what we're talking about in the rise of the black single mom, back in 1972. 75% of black households had a mom and a dad. Mm-hmm. Today, it's less than 20%. So when you think about that, you have a direct correlation there, a father who sits there, and whether we want to admit it or not, males maintain the discipline in the house. Now, they might not always be the active one going through and doing everything, but we have plenty examples of this, not only in humanity, but you can look at it in wildlife as well. The one I like to use the most is the male lion. He doesn't really do the hunting. He doesn't really do anything. He's the protector. And everything's fine and dandy, and he can take a lot of crap. But once he decides that he's going to go out and do what he needs to do, everybody falls into line real quick. And you know, I didn't have a father, but my best friend, Eric, he had a father, and all his mother needed to say is, Eric, wait till your father gets home. And you knew it was on. And there's just a certain level of having a father and a mother there that's so much better. And we're not saying that if you don't have that right now, you're a bad person and that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we as a society need to start realizing that it truly does take two. And the system, and you can definitely blame culture for this, but you got to blame the politicians too. You know, this just didn't start happening overnight. It started happening in 1982. Then they passed another bill in 88 and another bill in 94 and they kept on taking more and more away from what I call the nuclear family and giving it to single mothers, some single fathers out there too. Shout out to the single fathers out there. But, you know, they're...
Who get no sympathy, by the way.
Oh, no. In fact, in court, we get we're already behind the 8 ball, and it's just a matter of how bad are we going to get smacked.
Did you see where Kentucky did away with single moms getting the way they were doing custody? Now everything's 50-50.
I did not, but I'm writing it down because I want to look it up.
Yeah, the law passed about 3 years ago, maybe back in 2019, something like that. Mm-hmm. They passed a law where they did away with or not did away with, but they changed it where all custody now, unless it's a really screwed up situation,
50-50.
50-50, and divorce rates plummeted.
Really?
Yep.
That's really interesting because anything we can do to have people get together. The other thing that I really like, and I'm not sure if it's law yet, but I've seen smatterings of it, is mandatory DNA test for all babies born.
Why we don't do that, I have no clue.
I'll tell you what, that will stop a lot of the fooling around right there. Because right now all it takes is someone say to charge. Well, it might not be this way now, but I know as of 3 years ago, someone could say, you're the father of this child, and next thing you know, you're having to go in and try to prove to yourself that you're not, instead of having to just say, hey, this is a woman who was clearly doing something on her own. And, of course, the men are all for it. All of us men were like, yeah, let's do it. It doesn't bother me. And the women are freaking out because they know what's going on. And between that and the pill and everything else, how we've hypersexualized everything from, the 75-year-old living out in a senior citizen's home, all the way down to look at Netflix and cuties. I mean, there isn't one generation of kids or one generation of people out there who haven't been at least started to be groomed, if not already groomed. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm Gen X.
Yep, me too.
We were the last generation to do it without these iPhones and internet and all that stuff, and the first generation to do it with. We were the only one that have it both ways.
The thing about it too is with Gen X, and I'm not saying we're better. We're just we're wired different.
We're tougher.
Yep. And the bottom line is Clay, if world cell phone system went out tomorrow, it would suck. The internet down, it would suck, but we would be all right. There are so many people out there who don't even know how to plant a tomato plant. Who they're going to be completely hosed.
Yeah, I think we go back to our factory settings after a little bit.
Yep. We
would go back to our default settings a little bit. And I was listening to not a podcast, but a little YouTube video. I shared it with a few people Sunday. I was out for my ruck and just kind of stumbled across I just kind of listened to random stuff on my YouTube, recommended stuff. I like Gen X type content. I like to see are other people thinking the same thing I'm thinking kind of stuff.
Yep. And
I shared it with Fred and Sean and a couple others. But it really hit the nail on the head about Gen X. We got thicker skin, and we're way more blunt. It brought this up. It said people who are Gen Xers are way more blunt. And we don't care about your feelings. We don't get our feelings hurt very easily. And I think that really explains why millennials and younger are so aghast at my bull in a china shop mentality, because they're just not used to somebody who ain't going to tiptoe around the broken glass. Mm-mm. We're going to walk right across it, hot coals, whatever. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. If you don't like it, damn you to hell, I don't care.
This is so corny, but it's so true. Sticks and stones might break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
No, but not with the modern kids' words or weapons.
I can tell you this, and I love my daughter, and I'm always praising her, but she cannot take constructive criticism if you're anywhere above a 3. And it's not that I'm very persuasive and I can get my daughter going down the right track, but every once in a while you got to drop the hammer.
I had to do it on mine the other day.
Yeah,
I said we got to get you more domesticated. I was like, if something happened to me today, I don't know what you would do.
Isn't that scary?
It is. And I mean, like around the house. I mean, she works, she goes to school. I mean, she functions fine out in the world, but at home, I have not done a good job. I have not done a good job. We got to get you in the kitchen And we got to get you doing a little bit more stuff around here.
You know,
we have not. She's a hard worker and all that, so I'm proud of her. But if it was up to her, it would be DoorDash 3 times a day.
You know, I got to give credit to Toots McCracken because last night she does her meal prep for the week. She's a volleyball player, and she's very conscious of what she's putting into her body and making sure she's ready to go out there and, like her dad says, spike the ball and hit her in the face. Yeah. I mean, that's nothing's greater when she come back and she got coming over the top, and I'm like, oh, this is going to hurt. And she just cranks one out, and she doesn't hurt the girl, but yeah, she put it down. You know, last night she trashed the kitchen, dude, making meals and everything. But it's like literally the first time she actually not only trashed the kitchen, but she cleaned it up too.
Yes.
And I'm like, victory!
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back with Andrew Gossett here on the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, you want to call in this morning, 601-879-0002. I want to tap into Andrew's brain a little bit and see if he thinks what's going on in the black community is by design. It almost has to be. You couldn't accidentally destroy a community the way this community's been destroyed and the way that they like it.
Yep.
They've been pistol whipped into thinking that this is normal. What's it called? Where you have a complex where you
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. The black community is a prime example of Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And the Democrat Party is the captor. We'll be right back. Back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment going to be brought to you by our friends over at how about my buddies at A1 Gear and Auto right there, Highway 49 South, Florence, Mississippi. Swing by and check them out today if you got to. If you need a little mechanic work done on your vehicle, whether it's brakes or a complete engine rebuild, they got you covered at A1 Gear and Auto. But what they specialize in is going to be your ring and pinions. They are the go-to ring and pinion shop in the area. If you are having any issues there and you take it to another shop, most likely, you know where they're going to send it without you knowing? To A1 Gear and Auto. Cut the middleman out. Take it straight to A1. Let Justin and the team get you back rolling down the roads today. They are your four-wheel drive Jeep off-road specialists. You ride by there at any point in time, you'll see all these big jacked-up trucks and mainly Jeeps. They are the go-to Jeep shop in town. You have any issues with your ring and pinion, or hey, you bought that Jeep, you need to upgrade that ring and pinion to some bigger, lower gears to make them big tires going down the road. They do all that too. Stop by, see them today, and tell them Clay sent you. That's A1 Gear and Auto. Air conditioning, heating, cooling, water pumps, power steering pumps, brakes, calipers. They can do it all. The only thing they don't work on is diesel engines. They send it to somebody else, or they'll just tell you to go to somebody else. And I think we used to have a good diesel engine repair shop that advertised here on the on WYAB. They weren't on my show, but they advertised over there out in Raymond. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, what's the name of that? Just because I'm having a brain fart here, what's the name of that big medical? I'll remember in a minute. Anyway, there's a hospital named after it too, and they got the same name of that hospital. This diesel repair shop out in Raymond. Yeah, I got some buddies that got a diesel repair shop too here in town. I can recommend you to also if you got a diesel engine, need some work done on it. But anyway, we got Andrew Gossett here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios with me this morning. The Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. Let's go to the text line real quick, man.
Okay.
And then I want to circle back to some stuff with Andrew. And we were having a good conversation off air as well. Unknown texter says, I got to pull up here. It's from a baby boomer. All right, he says, I'm a baby boomer. By the way, the mechanic shop, the Mayo out there in Raymond, they do diesel engine repair. Imagine like the Mayo Clinic is always on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't quite get it off there. Thank you, texter. I'd love having the text line.
The text line is all during the weekend. They're blowing it up, and it's so great.
I get so many leads.
Yep.
Like I'm sitting at home and somebody will text me something I didn't know happened. I'm like, thank you. And sometimes I get the same thing a million times, but I don't care because people think they're helping, and they are.
The one thing that I want to say that, though, is if I don't get back to you on the individual text, I need to do better at that. But I do read them. But like you said, sometimes a story breaks and we get like 40 notes on it, and it's just like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, usually I've seen it already, but I appreciate that people think of me, so I never care. I appreciate it. All right, unknown texter says, I'm a baby boomer. And I shout out to the boomers out there. Y'all really made America great. I know the boomers get a lot of grief, mainly from the punk ass, weak ass millennials. I don't know why the millennials decided to go to war with the boomers.
I don't know either.
But they did, and the zillennials, and not zillennials, but the Gen Z and all them. They decided that they made the boomers these bad people, and the boomers, why won't they just exit the stage? Well, because they're making a lot of money.
Yep.
I mean, welcome to capitalism. Work harder.
Yep.
Cry more. Work harder. But anyway, it says, I'm a boomer, and I always ask these young whippersnappers if they ever skint a coon lips and eyelashes out to sell the hide or castrate anything. That's from Rusty. Probably not.
Nope.
But on this boomer thing.
Yeah.
I thought about that, honestly, when I was talking about the Gen X stuff and a minute ago, but I just chose not to say anything. But since he brought it up, well, maybe because our parents are boomers. Mm-hmm. I look at them different. And I don't have a problem. Like boomers and then the generation before them, they built this country. The greatest generation, I think is what it's called before the boomers, the World War II vets and all them.
Yep.
And then the boomers are their kids. Like this country wouldn't be, y'all wouldn't have all this crap to even complain about. You wouldn't have the freedoms to complain if the boomers hadn't held this thing together. I mean, the 80s is why America even exists.
The 80s was an incredible decade. It was, I thank God I was alive during
Me
the
too.
80s. That was just growing up. The music was lit. Days were awesome. You didn't have all this social media stuff to bombard you with. You were outside, you building forts, attacking your friends because you're having a bottle rocket fight. And if you've never lived through a bottle rocket fight, I'm going to just say you haven't maybe necessarily lived because that was a lot of fun. I wouldn't say go do it today, but it was a lot of fun back then. But about this boomer, our parents raised us a certain way, but there's a whole other set of boomers out there who are agitating. Like if you go look at what's happening in Portland, they have this ukulele band out there, and everybody's over the age of 65. All the women have the short pixie cuts. All the men have longer hair down to their butts, and they're sitting there singing, and it's like they've worked really hard to get to where they're at, but they didn't pass on their work ethic to their kids and the next generation after that. And it's actually caused a lot of, because my daughter tells me this all the time, it's a complete disconnect. One point, they're happy they've made all this money and they're doing really well and they want to continue to go down this way. But when my daughter looks at it, when even my two older sons look at it, they're like, Dad, it's a lot harder for us to buy a house. It's a lot harder for us to go out and buy groceries than it is for you. And,
what do the boomers have to do with all of that?
Oh, I think that when we go look at the next No King's Day coming up, which is going to be insane, you're going to see that a lot of the boomers are actually funding that. I think it's a lot older generation that's funding that. I think Gen X, look, I do not believe if we have a Gen X president, it'll be only by the grace of God because
it's going to skip.
We don't give a flip. We go out there and we look at the way you hustle or the way I hustle or the way my sweet pea. We're just out there grinding. We don't have necessarily the time to sit there and go over every political story and every report, what's true, what's not. We don't care. We've got businesses to run. We got life to go on. Whereas these boomers now, they're retired. This is their full life's mission. I mean, we've all seen the videos of the Karen. The doors, window, person's just parked in a parking lot. Excuse me, this is private property. You've got to move. And sitting there just, you're wondering how the heck this boomer can act like that. So I think that's where the zillennial, Gen Z, millennial kind of went after the boomers. They didn't necessarily realize all the great stuff they did. Of course, they go to the ones that make a complete mockery out of the whole system. I mean, they built the interstates, they built the railroads, they built the airports, they built the docks for our shipping.
And so so they're mad that people want them to park where they're supposed to park. That's a bad thing.
It was a park in a homeowners association.
Yeah.
And it says public parking, and he went there on his lunch. I'm going to find you the video, dude. I'll send it to you. But this is the type of thing that gets played over and over again, whether it be X, Rumble, YouTube, whatever. We see these Karens out there, and I'm not saying all Karens are boomers, but a lot of them are boomers, and the best ones I've seen have been the boomer ones. So I won't necessarily say the boomers are bad. I think they did a lot more good than bad. But there's some out there, especially in these Democrat hives, if you will, Chicago, where I grew up. They're all over the place. And this will be on the show later this morning. Governor Pritzker is giving a speech in downtown Chicago. Chicago, is majority black. There's not one black person in there. They're at Daily Square, or Daily Plaza, excuse me. And it's all white boomers sitting there. And the black community, I will say this, they're about fit to be tied with what's going on inside their communities. They know something. This is my heart. I believe they know something's wrong. They don't necessarily want to go at it. Just like you talked about, there's a no snitch rule or clause, that's heavily embedded into that, and they don't want to do that. But at the same time, they're looking back on the last 30 years and saying, "What the heck happened? Where did it go so bad?" Because you look at places like Chicago, 73 years since there's been a Republican mayor. Jackson, Mississippi, I think it's 52 years.
No, it's never.
It's never?
Never.
Okay. Well,
people just assumed that the last white mayor was a Republican because things were ran right. But no, there's never been a Republican mayor, not since Reconstruction.
That just says everything you need to say.
There was almost Fred Shank's dad, Doug, he was commissioner back when before they had a city council.
Yeah.
And he would have been the first Republican mayor if he had beaten Dell Danks. But it was the legendary Danks versus Shanks race of late 70s, early 80s. I forget the year. But anyway, no, there's never been a Republican in Jackson. We had good old Dixiecrats, but we didn't have a Republican.
So that just goes to show you just how bad the whole Democrat plot line is, the ideas that they have. They just don't work. Whether it's a blue city in a blue state like Chicago, or whether it's a blue city in a red state like Mississippi. And I know a lot of people are like, Mississippi's not that conservative. It's not that. Well, I'm just telling you this right now. Republicans, unless they do something really bad where they get caught with like actual full motion video of doing heinous acts to kids, they're not going to lose anytime soon. But that's not to say that they're not strong conservative red like that fire extinguisher. They're more of a purple.
Hold that thought. We got to take a break.
Yep.
Online audience, we're going to keep this conversation going with y'all. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on WYB. All right, so this boomer.
Say again,
I want to circle back to this boomer conversation.
Let's do it.
Because a lot of people are attacking the boomers, saying they won't step to the side, they won't let the next generation go. I mean, do y'all plan on stepping to the side when it's like I'm gonna have to work till I die? I ain't gonna be able to afford to step to the side.
I can afford to step to the side right now, but that's because I put a shit ton of money away, and I'm also fully military veteran disabled. Yeah. But think about this. The young 18-year-old who enlists today will not get the same protections for serving that I got. They're going to have to go. They have it completely different. And that is one of the challenges that the military is finding out right now. Like my health care was supposed to be completely different. It changed from when I enlisted to when I retired. But once you retire, you're locked into whatever it is you're locked into. So even if it gets a lot better, I don't get to go to the better. I'm locked into what I'm locked into. But it's just been getting progressively worse. I mean, it's been brutal.
That's the boomers' faults?
I think it's the
That's
government.
what I'm trying to get. Like, what did the boomers? I mean, if y'all think the boomers are mean to y'all, you should have grew up around the greatest generation.
Oh,
I mean, random old men and women from that survived the Depression see you do something stupid and they snatch. If any of our greatest generation still were young enough to show you like all this piddle paddling and racism and all this woke bullshit, they'd have snipped that shit in the bud.
Well, no one cares about racism anymore. No one cares about Nazism or fascism anymore because we've all been called it, and it's all.
If you had parked somewhere you weren't supposed to and one of our greatest generation members had seen you do it, they'd have beat your ass. Y'all think you don't like the boomers. I'm just telling you, the folks before them were my great-grandparents, my grandparents, they were nothing to play with.
My grandfather, God bless him, he would tell me one time nicely, and then the next time it was full auto-delete, and you're getting smashed. And you know what? He had to smash me one time. After that, yep, Grandpa.
And my grandmother's still alive. She's 90, you know,
That's
early
awesome.
90s, and she's always been like trying to hug a porcupine. But she survived the Depression. I mean, she's seen a lot in that almost 100 years where she just got thick skin. And I ain't never heard her say anything racist, nothing like that. I don't know we've ever even had a conversation about any of the stuff like that. And I need to go see her today, as a matter of fact. I hadn't seen her in a month or so. And there are different generations. I just don't understand the angst towards boomers. I mean, I get it. There's some assholes in every group.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm angry as hell at Black Gen X for starting all this racism crap, and I'm angry at There are some white boomers who have been pandering to it because they know that they were racist growing up.
Excellent.
And there's this I don't know if it's like a guilt ridden or what, but they're the ones fueling this crap. So yeah, you know what? Fuck them boomers.
I'm at the point to where there's a select group of boomers who are wielding all the power. They are, whether we want to admit it or not.
But I can get like Nancy Pelosi and that whole bunch up there that won't step to the side. But I mean, that's one person, two people. I mean, I don't want to sit here and cast a spell on the whole bunch because there's a couple assholes that are rigging the system up in D.C.
We just got to call them as we see them. I mean, literally. And you can either have the side where, you know what, I'm going to go in and giving this person grace, or I'm going in and saying this person's full of crap. But I mean, if you think about the average age in Congress right now is like 82. What?
Well, we got to quit voting for them. That's on us for voting them in. We got to quit voting for them.
Well, we've got to teach our kids, because the education system did not teach our kids the importance of.
We're back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, man. We're having a very colorful conversation there.
Awesome.
During the break. I think I have been convinced that everything going on in the world is the boomers' fault, especially all this pandering to the black folks and all this. There are a bunch of guilt-ridden racist boomers out there pandering to these black Gen Xers that stirred all this racism crap back up a few years ago. Andrew, let's circle back real quick. Yeah. I wanted to get your thoughts on what's going on in the black community.
Okay.
And we got a little off track there. But the black community, what's going on in there, since the early 80s at least, this can't be by accident. Dude, when I was growing up, or you go back and you see old pictures of the blacks from the 70s and stuff, man, the black men wore suits everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They looked professional. You said the 72%,
75% marriage,
two-parent home. And then rap music and crack hit the black community like a tornado. Hit the tornado like a trailer park.
Yep.
Hit the black community like a tornado hit a trailer park in the late 70s, early 80s. And now people talk about, the CIA put crack in the community. Yeah, but you didn't have to smoke it, and you didn't have to sell it, and you didn't have to sell it to the people in your community. You could have said no thanks. So I blame that on you. Whoever decided, I blame that on you as an individual. Now the CIA, whatever, they shouldn't have done that either. If that's, nobody will ever really admit that. So we're getting that from less than credible sources. Let's just be honest. It sounds good to say it. It sounds good to. I love a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there was some stuff there. Because let's just be honest. If they had really done that to the extent that Freeway Ricky Ross claims, he would be dead. Yep. He wouldn't be allowed to be out here talking about it. You know what I mean?
There are people from CIA who are now retired who talk about the cocaine trade back in the 80s and the 90s. Like Sean Ryan's done a complete podcast on it. But your point is correct. It's the rap music, and people are like, Andy, you're hating on rap. Dude, I love rap, and I could repeat a lot of the lyrics because that's what we grew up with too. But the rap music completely changed how men look at women. That's number one. And number two, the crack cocaine, it just didn't come into the black communities. It came into the white communities too. It's just that our parents beat the heck out of us, and for whatever reason, the black communities started falling away right there.
The National Alliance of the Aryan Brotherhood comments Here we go. Here we effing go. Make excuses for them. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying that this happened.
It's not undeniable.
Like something happened. You can look at the timeline of when it happened in the community there, and it went about the time, early 80s, when rap and crack hit. The community went to hell. My dad had that store on Lynch Street. I grew up there with a front row seat in the 80s to watching this stuff. People think it's dangerous in Jackson now. You should have been here in the 80s. You know, like all these criminal justice reforms, they tried all this stuff already.
Yep.
All this social criminal justice reform. They tried all this, and that's what ended up bringing that's why they ended up having back in the 90s. They had to, because it went to hell in the 80s. They did the no cash, they did the cash bond, no cash bond, whatever.
Yep.
So they did everything they're trying now. They did this in the early 80s or mid 80s when crack got out of hand. And that's when Reagan came in like Trump. And that's when Giuliani had to come in and clean up New York City and so on and so forth. Now, because then in the 90s they brought in the law, the tough law stuff, the Joe Biden Crime Act, and all that, the Bill Clinton Crime Act and all that, because they had to fix what they had screwed up. So we've done all this before, but something happened, and without going down that rabbit hole per se, what's happened in the black community, it is phenomenal. And generations from now, if we win this culture war, they're going to examine the demise of the black community like the Mayans.
Yeah.
Because now we're told that they invented everything and that America wouldn't be here if it wasn't for blacks, blah, blah, blah. That aside, they're going to try to figure out, scientists are going to archaeologists are going to have to try to figure out what the hell happened to DeJounte and Deviante and how it went so bad so quick in one generation. In one generation, the black community went from being, when you thought family, strong community, you thought black community. At least I did.
Yep.
And the strong black mother, the strong black grandmother, the strong black father, and now they're laughing stock. Yep. They're not serious people as a group. Yep. There are great people within the groups, but as a group, they have no political power anymore. They squandered all that away, and they're a joke.
They have no political power anymore. I was listening to a black pastor in Georgia talk about how the only time the Democrats ever really care about the black community is when it comes to election time, and they make the tours to all the churches. They start doing all of that.
Paying the pastors to do the work for them.
Absolutely. Walking money. If you know, you know. And it's a real problem because the kids today, again, it's the Zoomers, it's Gen Z and Gen A, which is coming behind them, are looking like, this isn't working. This crap isn't working anymore. Yeah. And Clay, I genuinely think this. You asked what happened. I think starting with Margaret Sanger back in the early 1900s when she started pushing for abortion, and you can go read all of Margaret Sanger's quotes on what she thought about black people, and
now she's a Democrat icon.
Yep. But the whole thing is I think that they started back in the early 1900s, with the Great Society with Lyndon B. Johnson. They put more things in place, and the timing just all hit the right moment at about 1982 when they pushed that button, and they just released this multi-pronged attack into the black community specifically. And, was it just to take down the black community? I don't know. I think it's bigger. I think they want to break down the traditional American values that we talk about, whether that be two parents in the household, a mom and a dad, not two dads. They went after that. They went after the education system, where they started taking out really important things. Like now they don't even teach the kids cursive. And think about this. In another generation, the kids aren't even going to be able to read the original Constitution of the United States.
Well, that'll be by design.
Yeah, and that's what's the whole thing that's going on in the black community now, by design.
Yeah, 100% by design. Somebody, Jonathan corrected me and said, Clay, it's 3 generations. I know it's been 3 generations since it started, but that generation in the 80s, they destroyed that generation, and the rest are irrelevant. It was done in one generation.
It's the hockey stick, right? You sit there and how a hockey stick looks. It's like you can look at about 1982, and you just see it start to curve up, and now it's just spiking. And once it spikes, it's going to crash again, and we're going to have to put this all back together. And it's, how are we going to put this back together?
All right, man, we got to take a quick call here.
Yep.
Hey, caller, you're on the air. You got about 1 minute. Try to make it quick.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I'm on your YouTube
yeah, I see.
page. Listen, about the boomers, don't forget the boomers were your hippies of the 1960s. They've been entitled the entire time. I'm Gen X. I'm 50 years old. And even in their 70s and 80s now, they look down on everybody.
Yep.
This is not new. They came from the greatest generation, their parents. They spoiled those kids. They came back from war. Dad had his problems with
Brilliant.
war, and they have been spoiled. They are not letting go. They got a superiority complex.
Yeah, I think I'm wrong about the boomer. I've been converted here in the last few minutes on the boomer thing.
No, that's terrible. Thanks.
Well, look, brother, hey, I appreciate you watching, man. Thanks for the call. Good stuff there.
Yep.
Good stuff there. All right, let's take our last break online. We're going to stay with y'all through the break here. I want to wrap this conversation up. Radio, don't go nowhere. And keep the knob ripped off the radio, because if you're like Andrew, you got 2 more hours of them from 10 to noon right here on WYAB. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day. You don't leave the headphones off.
Static.
I know, but you can't hear what we're doing here. Just keep the headphones off when we're on during the break. Yeah. All right, man. Hey, we are going to rock and roll with you guys for a minute here. We had to make sure that commercials were playing over the radio there. Yeah, look, man. Let's hit some of the comments. Everybody seems to agree. Everybody hates the boomers, so it is what it is. Let's see here. Anything in the comments? Where were we at, man? That whole commercial thing threw me off.
Yep, it threw me off too. We were talking about how in 1982 something happened.
Yes. And then in the 90s, oh, hold on. Sorry, I had your wrong mic on.
Oh, there we go.
In the 90s, the black community was still going pretty strong. I mean, you still had the rap music and all that stuff, but race relations were still great in America. And, dude, something happened. I know we blame it on Obama and all that stuff, but it was more than just Obama.
Can you push my mic up real quick? The volume? That's mic 3, right?
You're on mic 3.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. That's what it was. It was, but here's the other thing about that makes it even stranger, Clay, when we start linking this together. You take what President Obama did, that was like the next biggest thing I feel that happened once the rap music and the cocaine, and we got to admit that happened. But if you think about it, race relations up until President Barack Obama took office were good.
Yeah.
We were good. What happened in between 2008 and 2014, or 2016, that President Obama did to completely change this on its head? And I think it deserves a lot of inspection and reviewing of what happened there.
So I owned Club 105 at the time in 2008 when Obama got elected, and predominantly black nightclub in Jackson. I was the white guy that owned the black nightclub, and things were good. But I just remember seeing the joy on black people's faces when he got elected and all that stuff, and I didn't vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I'm not one of these. I never voted for Obama, not even once.
Nope.
I didn't want that hope and change. But I watched it, and it's like Black America just thought that all the ills of the past were going to be fixed now that you had a black president, and they didn't. But they pretended that it fixed a lot of things, and it never fixed any of that crap. And then when Trump came down that escalator in 2015, and they realized, oh shit, we're not going to have another black president, and whoever Obama anointed ain't going to be president. And they went full frontal assault. And it was for the first time that when black people said something was racist, and people kind of looked at them and said, so?
Yep.
Like they used to, it was always like the Trump card, pun intended, that if we tell you something's racist, you have to abandon ship.
You were like immediate course correction. You didn't want to be labeled as that.
That's racist. And then so many of our boomers, they are like that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't want to be called a racist. I don't give a shit. Call me whatever you want, just don't call me collect. Let's see where we're at. We're back. We're back live. All right, man, we are back. Sorry about that. We're live here on the Clay Edwards Show with Andrew Gosser. As we get ready to kind of land the plane for the day, we just kind of putting a button on it with this black culture issue, black culture right issue that's going on in America right now, and kind of how we got here. I think that the cherry on top of the cake was the Obama administration.
Yep.
And then when Trump came down that escalator, and for the first time in our lifetimes, black folks telling us something was racist and us not course correcting with them and saying, oh, you're right, well, I won't support him. We finally looked black folks in the eye and said, I don't care what you say.
Yep.
Your way ain't been working. I can look at your communities. I got a front row seat to know all the problems in the black community are black inflicted problems.
Yep.
You know, and you're doing nothing. So Trump being president is why you having to peep-hop on a handstand and twerk on the countertops when a restaurant gets your order wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that's just one of the many little things, the microaggressions. 10 seconds.
How about when they roll into a restaurant and completely trash the place? That's not a micro. That's millions of dollars.
Is Trump why you don't tip? Is Trump why you can't be quiet in a movie theater? No. It's culture right. Andrew Gosser will be up next, 10 to noon, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see y'all then. Be blessed.
See ya. Be blessed.